After Trump's dramatic 48-hour warning, Iran has now unveiled a massive new nuclear-related surprise that could reshape the standoff. Mojtaba Khamenei appears to be making his boldest and potentially most dangerous move yet as Washington weighs fresh military strikes. Tehran has now reportedly revealed which global power could receive its highly sensitive nuclear materials instead of the United States. What appears to be a major setback for Trump may now be turning into a significant geopolitical victory for Vladimir Putin and Moscow. Iran is now reportedly prepared to transfer its stockpile of enriched uranium to close ally Russia instead of handing it over to the United States. The alleged offer was reportedly included in an updated draft outlining Tehran's conditions for a possible peace agreement with Washington. According to reports, the amended proposal stated that Iran would entrust Russia with its uranium reserves rather than surrender them directly to America. Tehran reportedly attached several conditions to the uranium transfer arrangement, though the exact details remain undisclosed so far. Al Arabiya reportedly leaked details connected to Iran's latest 14-point proposal aimed at ending the conflict with the United States. Reports further claimed that Iran agreed to a long-term freeze on nuclear activities instead of completely dismantling its nuclear program. In addition, Tehran reportedly demanded economic concessions from Washington rather than pursuing formal war reparations. Iran's latest proposal is also said to be focused on reducing tensions and gradually rebuilding trust with the United States. According to reports, the updated proposal was delivered to mediator Pakistan as negotiations quietly continue behind closed doors. Pakistan's foreign minister met with his Iranian counterpart on May 18 amid ongoing diplomatic discussions surrounding the proposed agreement. However, Iran's foreign ministry simultaneously warned Washington against carrying out any provocative or hostile actions during the negotiations. On May 18, spokesman Ismail Baghai warned that Iran would retaliate strongly if provoked once again by the American side.
We hold no hostility toward any regional country. We are eternal neighbors with all regional countries, including the UAE. We call on all those countries to be careful about plots by foreigners from outside the region to sow discord and permanent division between regional countries. They should learn their lesson from what happened over the past 2 or 3 months. They saw that military presence by the U.S. and the Zionist regime doesn't bring security to the region. The lack of security in Strait of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf has been caused by the aggression by the U.S. and the Zionist regime. The UN Security Council can't ignore this and accuse only Iran for breaching security of the region. This is in no way acceptable. If Iran and Oman, as the 2 coastal countries bordering the Strait of Hormuz, establish internationally recognized mechanisms to ensure safe and secure passage through the strait, and this will have costs and it's internationally accepted, to collect fees. While we are monitoring all movements and are prepared for any scenario at the negotiations table, regardless of those threats, we are focused on the Iranian nation's interests. As for the threats by U.S., rest assured, in case of the slightest error by the other side, we are well versed on how to respond. Attacking a border patrol vessel and then making accusations is in no way consistent with the principle of good neighborliness. We expect the Kuwaiti side to arrange the release of Iranian citizens as soon as possible.
Washington has reportedly dismissed Iran's latest 14-point proposal, describing the offer as inadequate and insufficient. The revised proposal allegedly included no major compromise from Tehran regarding uranium enrichment activities. Reports also claimed that Iran refused to surrender its existing stockpile of highly enriched uranium to the United States. Under its own framework, Washington reportedly demanded that Iran hand over nearly 400 kilograms of enriched uranium material. The Trump administration also allegedly insisted that Iran should be permitted to keep only 1 nuclear facility operational. Reports further stated that Donald Trump is facing mounting pressure from advisors to force Tehran into accepting a deal by any means necessary. On May 17, the US president publicly warned Iran that the clock is ticking for reaching a final agreement. Meanwhile, reports have emerged claiming that Washington could restart military operations against Iran within the next 24 to 48 hours. On May 18, Al Jazeera reported that Washington could resume its campaign against Iran within the next 24 to 48 hours, putting a specific, alarming timeline on the table. Analyst Mohammed El-Masri said Trump is under heavy pressure from hawkish advisors, who view the current pause as a missed opportunity rather than a necessary breathing space. El-Masri argued that Trump has failed to secure the kind of capitulation from Tehran he initially expected, leaving the White House frustrated and searching for a way to reassert leverage. Reports also suggest Trump expected his talks with China's Xi Jinping to end more favorably, and that disappointment may be feeding a desire to look tough elsewhere, especially on Iran. The analyst described the Iran war as a real disaster for Trump politically, saying it has produced huge costs and limited gains while exposing US vulnerabilities and divisions. Yet, according to this assessment, Trump cannot simply declare victory and walk away, because the situation on the ground and the rhetoric he has used make a clean exit almost impossible. The latest warning lands just one day after Trump spoke with Benjamin Netanyahu on May 17th, a call explicitly focused on the Iran war and its possible next phase. Israeli media have reported that the leaders discussed renewing the war with Iran alongside Trump's China trip, suggesting they were aligning their positions across multiple fronts at once. Various reports indicate that Netanyahu and hawkish figures in Washington are urging Trump to take a harder line against Tehran, framing renewed strikes as the only way to restore deterrence. Taken together, these voices are feeding a growing perception that a second round of strikes on Iran is not just possible but near, turning the current pause into a tense countdown. The US Navy is facing a looming shortfall in Tomahawk cruise missile capacity, just as planners fear a renewed large-scale war with Iran could demand heavy opening strikes. This gap arises because the Navy's Ohio-class guided missile submarines, SSGNs, are nearing retirement after more than 4 decades of service. Each Ohio-class SSGN can carry up to 154 Tomahawk cruise missiles, giving the United States a massive, covert undersea strike magazine for the opening phases of a conflict. These submarines can unleash large, precision missile salvos from underwater, hitting key enemy targets early while remaining hidden from detection. The US Navy currently operates 4 such Ohio-class guided missile submarines, which together represent a major share of America's long-range conventional firepower at sea. However, all 4 SSGNs are scheduled to retire in the coming years, mainly due to aging hulls and growing maintenance burdens that make continued operation difficult. Once removed from service, their retirement would strip 616 Tomahawk missiles from the US Undersea Strike Force on paper. Combined with the planned retirement of its Ticonderoga-class cruisers, the US Navy is on track to lose launch capacity for roughly 2,080 Tomahawk cruise missiles. This combined loss would create a pronounced drop in America's long-range, sea-based conventional missile firepower until replacements fully arrive. The Ohio-class SSGNs are widely regarded as the most powerful conventional strike submarines ever fielded, given their large missile load and flexibility. They can stay hidden underwater for long periods while delivering repeated, large-scale Tomahawk salvos against land targets. In addition to strike missions, these submarines also support covert Navy SEAL and special operations, using their size and payload to carry commandos and equipment. The submarines were originally built in the 1980s as ballistic missile boats and later converted, and they are now over 40 years old. Aging nuclear reactors and rising maintenance needs are the main drivers behind the decision to remove them from service. New Virginia-class Block V attack submarines, equipped with an added missile compartment, are expected to partially take over the SSGN's role. However, each Virginia Block V can hold only about 40 Tomahawk missiles, far fewer than a single Ohio-class SSGN. In practical terms, the Navy would need roughly 3 Virginia-class boats to match the Tomahawk load of 1 Ohio-class guided missile submarine. US officials and analysts warn this mismatch could leave a notable strike capability gap that persists well into the 2030s. To soften the transition, the Navy is considering extending the service lives of at least 2 of the SSGNs, USS Ohio and USS Michigan, until sufficient replacements are available. At the same time, Navy leaders have acknowledged that the costs of sustaining high-tempo operations for a prolonged Iran war would be difficult to bear under current budgets.